want to write something that helps people. This song needs you.
Sometimes your dreams can rise from the ashes.
Good evening and welcome to Good News on Entertainment. I'm Carley Boyette. I am personally so excited about tonight's show because the time has finally come where we can dive in deep and talk about I Can Only Imagine 2. This film story picks up a few years later after the first film. After the breakout success of the song I Can Only Imagine, Bart Millard of Mercy Me is living the dream of sold-out arenas, a devoted fan base, and a thriving career. But behind the spotlight, his past is resurfacing, and he is now struggling to build relationships with his own family, specifically his son. That is when Bart meets Timmons, who joins the tour and has personal struggles of his own, but also helps Bart find renewed gratitude in his life. Based on the heartfelt true story behind the hit single, Even If, I Can Only Imagine 2 is the inspiring next chapter of faith, family, and finding God in the fire. Tonight, we're going to hear from both Bart and Tim, along with many of the actors in this film as well. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at I Can Only Imagine 2.
You got your dream.
I Can Only Imagine by Mercy Me, one of the most beloved songs of all time.
You inspired millions of people. I mean, what did you think was going to happen? You're just going to ride off into the sunset? No more struggles or pain? So how about you tell me what's really going on? All these years later, seems we find ourselves at the crossroads.
They say sometimes you win some,
The question is,
sometimes you lose some.
are we still headlining material?
You got another hit cooking?
I know you're able and I know you care.
This tour is your dream. It's our dream.
I'm Tim. I'm Bart's warm-up.
This is my first tour, you know?
It's my first tour, too.
When did Accountant Bart show up?
I don't know, man. About the time I invited my diabetic kid along on this writer's block-inducing make-or-break tour.
Worried I might break him.
Or he just might fix you.
I just want to write something that helps people. Through the pain we all go through, you will never understand what I'm going through. Gratitude, grief, finding a way to hold them both. God is in fire, and it is beautiful. This song needs you.
Sometimes your dreams can rise from the ashes.
I didn't think you could top the first one, but you did. So, Andy, let's start with you because I feel like, you probably could have just used flashbacks, but I'm so glad you didn't. I'm so glad Dennis is back. Tell me about why that was important.
Well, I don't like to do movies without Dennis Quaid. He's my security blanket, but he's kind of like my version of Michael Caine. But for us, going back to this story, I didn't want it to go back as a gimmick. I wanted it to go back because there's more story to tell. But as we uncovered it, it just asked those questions of what happens when your happily ever after breaks, or when there's more life to live on the other side of a victory, and what happens when it's still hard. And Bart had, this beautiful moments with his dad, but he still had 22 years of an abusive one, and he didn't know how to kind of have the courage to be a father and give his kids something that he didn't have. So I think bringing Dennis back, there was some parts of Arthur we still needed to heal, even if it was in Bart's memory. And Dennis was the last day of filming, and it was a pretty magic moment.
Really
So
was.
tell me about what this meant for you, Dennis, because, and again, I really want people to understand that the first movie here really propelled Kingdom Story Company and you guys as filmmakers to the next level.
Yeah.
So Dennis, I mean, what is this, film meant to you? You've been in so much. You have such an incredible career, but this one is extra special for the foundation that it laid out for faith-based movies.
It's first of all, I have a contract with him that I'm in every one of his movies. By the way,
You said that 12 more years on that contract.
I don't know if I was necessarily thinking about getting into faith films. This was a great story, and it was told very authentically, and I was aware of them as filmmakers. Before that, I think it was The Shack. It was like the film that I think came closest to really kind of breaking through with people. But Hollywood has a long history of this. It's just been dormant for so long. If you go back to the 50s with Ben-Hur and The Greatest Story Ever Told, and and then they just stopped making them. The Last Temptation of Christ would be the only, the most recent one that I could possibly think of that wasn't a disguised Jesus story. These guys are making movies and stories about things that. The big questions that we all think about, that in a very authentic way, not in a Sunday school way or whatever. This is or trying to put, sugarcoat it. This was very relevant movies. There was such a thirst out there for this. There was an audience out for films like this that has grown even since then. When first I Can Only Imagine came out, it was very gratifying, actually. I remember because, there's all the powers that be that, do their soothsaying about what things are going to make at the box office like 2 weeks before they come out. And they were saying, this might eke out like $2 million over a weekend, and then go away. And then it made $17 million in its first weekend. And it was really gratifying. It was just, affirmation that there is this audience out there that is silent, that they don't even know how to track, that are there. And I want to be in every one of his movies. I just love the part.
I'm sure he'd do it, and I'm here for it. I can't wait to watch him.
I'll work with him until he gets sick of me. Appreciate you.
It's a wonderful thing about music. It's worship.
I think it's the most beautiful God language out there.
And that's why we write the songs, to try to make a difference.
All right, Bart, let's start with you. I love this movie, and I'm so thankful there's a film that's this powerful that admits the Christian life is still so messy.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that and what you hope people, I think both believers and non-believers, that I think need to understand about that.
Yeah, I think, we've said from the beginning, like it even says it in the movie, this idea of, real life is holding grief and gratitude, being able to hold them both at the same time. It's not just this one season of grief and one season of everything being awesome. It happens a lot of times at the same time. And we've got to find that there's hope in the grief, and that the reality is that when we hit the highs and the mountaintop highs, it's not where we're supposed to stay. And it's a little bit all over the place, and that God is still in the messiness. And like, if he's not, then what's the point? He's not God. And it's when we need him. It's easier to say, hey, call out to God when things are hard, but when things are going really well, it's like sometimes it's hard to give him the credit. And the idea of this story is about, it's in the height of our success, but things were hard at home and falling apart, and the challenges of Sam's health and figuring out how to be a better parent. And it's messy. And the idea of the reason I write songs, the reason we're making movies, is that if people can see it and realize, oh, I'm not the only one, I'm not alone in this, then it's worth it. And that's kind of the goal we're trying to hit.
Yeah, and John, I'll give you this one. I mean, I love that you just brought up parenthood. It's so similar to what parenthood is like, right? Like, it's messy, and there's a lot of joy and headaches and everything, all the emotions all wrapped into that. John, you're a dad now. I mean, can you relate to that? And I love in this film, we admit, like, hey, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I think more parents need to be honest, maybe even with their kids, and say that. Like, I'm taking it day by day too.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that messiness, that vulnerability is what people connect to. You know, I'm a dad now. I wasn't a dad during the first film. I lost my mom. My mom never got to see the first film. She died right after we finished filming. And so, you know, dealing with that and then having a child of my own and you know, I keep talking about these guys as my big brothers, but seeing my big brothers go through some real struggles and tribulations and be able to, as artists, share that with people and talk about that in such a vulnerable way is inspirational.
So Sammy, is this kind of young actor now, rising star? I mean, like, I'd imagine this had to be amazing to be with this cast and to see this story unfold. I mean, life lessons, professionally, emotionally, all the things. I mean, talk a little bit about that. I mean, what a blessing this must have been.
It really is, and it really was. I mean, I've experienced so many things within these past amount of time that I've been working on this film. I've met so many people who I think are going to be in my life for a very, very long time. And I've learned so much about not only myself, but about the industry and about this incredible family that this whole story is about. And I think that, honestly, that's one of the best gifts I could have been granted by being on this film. I don't know about that Finley guy, though. No.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, gentlemen, job well done. Truly, it's amazing, and I know it's going to be a huge impact when this releases. I'm so excited for what it's going to do, how God's going to use it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This is where I'm living right now. About 150 years ago, this man, Horatio Spafford, puts his wife and their 4 sweet daughters on a boat to Europe. On that fateful voyage, a freighter hits them, and only his wife survives. I want you to think how you'd respond to having everything in your life taken from you. Did he wave his fist at God? Would have been understandable, right? No. What do you think he did? He takes out a pen, proceeds to write one of the most beautiful songs in history. It is well with my soul.
Milo, I don't. You've like done it again. You're like pulling on all the heartstrings. I mean, it's a good cry. I will say that it has a very good ending. But what a powerful film! Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, I will say I didn't do it alone, and I didn't do it without, you know, a massive inspiration from Mr. Tim Timmons himself. You know.
Well, and let's talk about that. When did you find out about his story, and tell me what this relationship between the two of you has been? Because, you know, I'd imagine it's been a fun ride. I'm sure.
It has. Knowing Tim has been one of the best gifts of the year. Honest to God, has been one of the best gifts of the year. You know, I wasn't thinking that at the beginning of the year, losing my houses, then gaining a daughter. I was also going to be given the gift of this man right here, and learning from him, walking with him, knowing the truth behind where he starts and ends his day in a place of gratitude. It's just been such a gift to get to know Tim. You know, I read the script that had a beautiful message and a beautiful story and a continuation from the first film, and I watched the first film, but then I looked at this character that I was being offered to play, and I was like, ooh, this would be so much fun. And then to learn about Tim through that first blush of reading a script, I was blown away by where it went. Yeah. What I was able to find of Tim, you know, through his interviews, through his music, which I listened to constantly. I think you knew this ahead of time. But then just getting to know Tim and how he walks through his own grief with such grace and gratitude, and is constantly giving love to everybody from the most pure place of faith for him. It's just been an honor. It's been a pleasure. It's been such a gift for the year that I've had.
Well, and Tim, I wanted to hear more about your story. I love that we're hearing the story, the inspiration of the song "It Is Well with My Soul." I want a new generation to understand that story as well. How true was that in kind of how you got to this place of really trying to hold grief and gratitude, in the same hand? I mean, was that really, were you kind of obsessed with that book and all of the song lyrics and everything?
Yeah, there was a book years ago that had stories behind all these hymns, and I remember I didn't understand hymns when I was younger. Didn't really grow up in a tradition that had a lot of hymns, and so once I started hearing hymns, I'm like, what are these? But I didn't understand half of the language, so I like to know what I'm praying if I'm going to sing a song. So I started reading the stories behind these, and I remember reading specifically that one, and that being such a powerful prayer, a song. So then when Bart and I are writing Even If, it just seemed like a really appropriate place, because that's kind of how our hearts were. And to be honest, life isn't just all bow tied at the end, not all buttoned up. And so I think what I love about this movie is that it's saying life is still in process. Like, we haven't figured anything out yet. I surely have not figured anything out yet, but I am figuring, and I am in the process of this life. And so as I write this X on my wrist, it's just saying, God, you got me another day. I want to be in process with you in this.
Well, I got a Sharpie right here, and I feel like people are going to be doing this. I feel like you're going to be just constantly now meeting people when this finally goes out worldwide.
Sharpie sponsorship.
And it's going to start a campaign. I know it is.
I love it. But I mean, how beautiful would that be if more people were just practicing gratitude in the midst of grief for our days and doing it together, so that gets me excited.
Amen. Bravo, gentlemen. Phenomenal job. I can't wait till this is officially out in the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I got no clue what I'm doing.
Whatever you're going through, all of the storms, pain, trauma, God is in the fire. You're never alone.
Now, one more really cool part of this story, as you heard me talk about with the cast, Tim Timmons loved hearing the true stories behind some of the most beloved hymns, like It Is Well With My Soul. Well, now there is a companion book for the film coming out this month as well, called The Origin of Hymns. The author is Robert J. Morgan, who is a well-respected authority on hymns and history. Let's hear more about how this book came together after this movie was filmed and why it's so special.
You must be so excited that this is something you've been interested in for many, many years.
Yes, I love the classic hymns of the church. I love the newer music too. I think I've had a philosophy all my life that we need to sing fresh new music woven in with the great old classic hymns. And I don't know what's so hard about that.
That's my favorite, when you have a contemporary one and then you either go into the old hymn. Yes.
I don't understand why that is so hard. When I began my ministry, people accused me of championing the newer music at the expense of the hymns, and now they accuse me of championing the hymns at the expense of the newer music. And I tell them, I've not changed. We absolutely need both. We need the resilience and the freshness and the exuberance of new music, but the theological truth, the depths, the tradition, and I'm using that in a very rich way, the legacy of our hymns that go all the way back to biblical times, we just cannot afford to lose that.
Yeah. So talk about putting this book together, particularly for the movie. And I'm fascinated, this came out after the movie was already shot, from what I understand.
I was invited one day to come during the shooting of the movie and to pray over the cast and crew. So I did, and I lingered around and I watched some of the filming, and the producer of the movie, Josh Walsh, approached me And he said, I've read your books about the hymns. And we talked for an hour or two about the importance of keeping hymnody alive in our churches. And then I was in Germany shortly afterward, and he called me and he said, everything that you've said has gone into this movie, but the book that we're using in the movie doesn't really exist. Can you create it? And so they gave us the cover of the book, and we produced the rest of it. It is The Origin of Hymns. It is Well With My Soul. And this is the book that Tim Timmons is reading all the way through the book. It's the first time I've ever had a book that played a starring role in a movie.
Well, and I love right away in the book when I was reading over it, talk about what it is about hymns that they just stand the test of time. Most of them, certainly not all of them, right? But there is something. What is it about? I don't know if it's that they're just very, for the most part, easy to sing. I'm not a music person, but I love live music and I love singing together.
Yeah.
How do you
Well,
explain what that is?
yeah, I'm not a musician either, but I love to sing the hymns, and I sing them every day in my devotions. And you're right that most of the hymns have not survived. I mean, Charles Wesley wrote 9,000 hymns. Fanny Crosby probably wrote nearly as many, but only maybe 20 of their hymns are sung today, and really only about 10 are even well known among churches that sing hymns. But the richest hymns from all of the traditions going back to Exodus chapter 15, all of the richness of that is available to us. And apart from the Bible, the treasure trove of what we have in our hymn books is the greatest single source of devotional and theological material that we've ever been given. It's the greatest treasure source on earth, except for our Bibles. And so to neglect it, and to be the first generation to delete everything that came before is just something that I don't think we can tolerate. We need to sing the older hymns. And I tell people the older people need the newer music, but the younger people really need the older hymns.
Something interesting about hymns, and certainly with It Is Well With My Soul, is I think so many of them, and again, just like contemporary music, they are written out of a place of heartache too, and still seeing God's faithfulness through that. And I know you personally have also had to kind of live through that as well. Talk about that and the importance of music getting us through those tough times.
Music is such an important part of our worship. The Bible says, come before his presence with singing. And the lyrics of the great hymns minister to us in a way that nothing else can except the Bible. And I say this reverently and carefully, but there are times when I can't quite find the passage I need in the Bible, but a biblical truth in a hymn will come to me and lift me up. When my wife was near death, she at times couldn't sleep. She had insomnia. She was tossing and turning, but she would put on the playlist of great hymns that she had known all of her life, had sung from childhood. And what a friend we have in Jesus, for example, all our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to him in prayer. And around her bed, we gathered and we sang the great hymns that she had known all of her life. The newer music, most of it only lasts a few months, and it's pushed out by the industry, and a new song comes and we don't have the words embedded in our memories. But for the hymns, if we're in a good church, we'll be singing, oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing, from the time we're a child until we're an old man like me. And so those words go deeply into our hearts. And some of them, as you said, were written out of very emotional experiences, but written out of people who were very theologically adept. I'm recording a podcast tonight on the life of Isaac Watts, and he was an absolutely brilliant man in the 1700s who pastored a church, and he would take every one of his sermons, and at the end of the sermon, he would convert his theology and his teaching into a hymn, and that's the way we got the great Isaac Watts hymns, like, "Oh God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come." And when I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but loss and pour contempt on all my pride. They came out of the hearts of theologians and pastors and people like Horatio Spafford, who had a tremendous loss, and out of that wrote, "It is well with my soul." So we just can't afford, Carley, to lose these hymns. We've got to be singing them. We've got to have a hymn habit in our life, and that's one of the things I write about in The Origin of Hymns. But we've also got to be singing them in our churches and teaching them to our children.
Well, and I really feel like this movie is going to play a part in maybe getting people interested again in that and looking at some of the older hymns. And everything's cyclical and it comes back.
Mhm.
There's some great works of art, I guess you could call it, of that's just waiting to be revived, I think, and be blended with contemporary music. So I'm really excited about what God could do, with this. And again, just help unite the church. That's what we want, right? Churches should be for all generations, for all ages. And what a
Yeah.
way music can do that.
Yeah, we need a variety. The Bible says that we should be filled with the Spirit, speaking to ourselves with psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. Now, people define those terms a little bit differently, but however you define them, what is implied there is a variety of musical styles. And I think worship leaders and pastors have got to realize that they're ministering intergenerationally and that they need to minister not with the latest trendy song, or at least not with that alone, but with some of the songs that have been sung through the centuries, which frankly, younger people are coming back to and wanting very much right now.
Yep. Well, Robert, I really enjoyed visiting with you and hearing more about your story and just your biblical, wisdom on all of this. And again, I just am so excited this film is finally coming out for the world to see. And I'm excited to see what God is going to continue to do with it in the weeks and the months to come.
Well, thank you for letting me be with you today.
I just want to write something that helps people. This song needs you.
Sometimes your dreams can rise from the ashes.
As of right now, the book is scheduled to release February 17th. And again, I Can Only Imagine 2 is scheduled for official release February 20th. Tell all your friends and family, as you will not want to miss this one on the big screen. Now, the excitement for this film is not over yet. Next week, I plan to bring you the sights and sounds from the red carpet premiere in Nashville, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, if you have any questions about anything you saw tonight or anything on CTN recently, just go to ctnonline.com. Thank you again for tuning in tonight. I'm Carley Boyette, and I look forward to seeing you next week right here on your Christian television network.